a man with a gun pointed at his head, not a trace of panic. Instead, he arrogantly says,
"Your man to my left finger on the trigger, but he's a foot too close, which renders your man to my right dead already. He just doesn't know it yet. I feel sorry for his family."
Then he gently presses the watch. The next second, it turns out the man is a top retired special agent. He came here just to retrieve what belongs to him and finish everything. Just as he was about to leave, he realizes there is a child in the car. Facing the unarmed boy, the man can't bring himself to harm him, so he turns around and leaves. But this action almost cost him his life. Didn't expect that with only one lifetime left, he almost met his end in the hands of a child today. Although the man managed to leave this place with his strong willpower, he eventually lost too much blood and passed out on the way. Luckily, he was found by a passing vehicle in time. He was then taken to a private hospital in town. After a period of recuperation, old Luo has gradually recovered. During this time, he anonymously passed on the information to the Central Intelligence and Finance Group. The small town is nestled by mountains and water. With beautiful scenery, the residents here are even more simple and honest. This quickly made old Luo fall in love with this place, and he made many friends. However, on this day, old Luo unintentionally discovers that this peaceful and tranquil town is not as harmonious as it seems. The residents, who seem simple and happy on the surface, are constantly being oppressed by the local gang behind the scenes. If they don't pay protection money on time, if lightly punished, he would receive a beating. If severely punished, even his shop would be burned to ashes. He might even lose his life. One evening, old Luo, as usual, came to his favorite restaurant to eat, but he happened to encounter the local gang causing trouble again. This time, they even forced a police officer to do their bidding. Otherwise, they would dismember his whole family. Little did they know how arrogant he was at that moment. They had no idea how miserable their fate would be later. Just as he turned his head, he happened to see old Luo sitting in the corner, facing death, staring at him. Seeing that look, little Kuromi was very unhappy. She thought, how dare someone look at her like this in her territory? So she walked over with an indifferent attitude, ready to teach old Luo a lesson. But she didn't even have time to sit on the stool properly, and she was subdued by old Luo with a single move, teaching her a lesson. Then he made her put down the gun and leave quickly. After leaving, Kuromi became more and more angry, so she asked her subordinates to bring her a gun. She decided to go and kill old Luo. However, the next second, a figure appeared in the darkness. The police arrived at the scene. Seeing this bloody scene, they couldn't help but shudder. They also found a package of drugs with a pattern in the trunk. Meanwhile, Little Mai from the CIA also found the winery through the information provided by Lao Luo. They seized a large amount of cash and drugs with a logo. The next day, Kuromi's brother met with the police chief at home. The chief demanded that he immediately stop the drug trade. Otherwise, he would make his death very ugly, because the CIA had already destroyed a drug factory based on the clues, and they gradually realized that the source of funding for a recent explosion case was the drugs they were selling. After saying that, he prepared to leave. Unexpectedly, the boss directly picked up a small knife and inserted it into his palm with a ferocious look. Then he ordered his subordinates to chop off his right hand. Then they sent him away, and said, "All you need to do is find the killer of my younger brother. The people from the CIA will naturally take care of it themselves." Finally, he politely said thank you. The next day, just as Xiaomai was about to leave for errands, she received a phone call. Little did she know that it was during these few short seconds that ended up saving her life. That evening, the boss brought the police to the town. They demanded that everyone reveal the murderer, otherwise, they would massacre the town. After saying that, they even shot and shattered a policeman's ear. Despite facing a life-threatening threat, no one spoke up. Just then, Luo, in order to spare everyone from unnecessary harm, voluntarily stepped forward. He said that they could come to him with any issues. Without any hesitation, the boss immediately loaded a bullet into the chamber. Then, they pulled the trigger. There was only the sound of a gunshot. After the gunshot, Luo was miraculously unharmed. It turned out that the town's doctor had fired a shot into the air. Realizing this, everyone quickly took out their phones and started recording the boss. Under the pressure of everyone escalating the situation, they had no choice but to retreat. And as they left, they angrily threatened everyone. He was the leader of one of the 5 major gangs. He not only controlled various criminal enterprises, but also had an extremely large drug trafficking organization. Even the local police chief was rendered useless by him. But now, he was like a beaten dog. He was frantically venting his fear of the unknown. All of this was because he had provoked someone he shouldn't have. It turned out that his brother had been ruthlessly harming the people in a small town. Luo had forcibly taken him out of the picture. In order to avenge his brother, he came to the small town and capture the police from the town, threaten the local residents to reveal the murderer. Otherwise, the town will be bathed in blood. Just at that moment, Luo stepped forward to avoid implicating everyone. Facing the man who killed his younger brother, the boss loaded the bullet without hesitation. Then he pulled the trigger. However, after a gunshot rang out, Luo was miraculously unharmed. It turned out that a doctor fired a blank shot into the air as a response. Everyone took out their phones and recorded the boss. Under pressure, he could only choose to temporarily retreat. But before leaving, he left behind harsh words, saying that he would come back soon, kill everyone here. But he could never have imagined that this sentence would soon lead him into the abyss, because he would face the fury of a top-level agent. After returning, the boss used all available resources to find information about Luo. But in the end, he gained nothing. But it doesn't matter. He then expressed his anger.
I'ma cheat on him. I'ma cheat on him. Ma bruciare le vostre me. Rimane solo. Rimane.
Never know what will happen tomorrow. Even in the next second, suddenly, the little brother patrolling at the door heard an alarm outside. So he went to check it out, but he didn't find anything unusual, just as he was about to light a cigarette to calm himself down. Luo truly lived up to his reputation as a top-level agent. He appeared and disappeared like a ghost. He took the person's head without leaving a trace. The people upstairs are still playing cards leisurely. Suddenly, the lights went out. A few people who were unsure went to investigate. Suddenly, 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, the butler is checking the room surveillance, when it was his turn to flip to his own room. Clearly, everything was too late. The severely injured butler stumbled out of the room. He called for his colleagues to seek help. Just then, Luo suddenly appeared behind him. He grabbed the other person's neck and took him away. Meanwhile, the boss was sleeping soundly. In a daze, he felt something dripping. Then, he looked towards the ceiling. However, the next second, a subordinate's body fell down. The panicked boss quickly called for help, but no matter how hard he screamed, he received no response. He went through several rooms, except for the bodies all over the floor. He couldn't see anything. He could no longer suppress the fear of the unknown in his heart. The boss woke up and foamed at the mouth. Luo told him that he had already injected him with a large amount of drugs. There should be 6 minutes left. Enjoy the remaining time. The instinct to survive made him run out of the villa to seek help. Although he crawled all the way to the street, no one was willing to help him. He eventually died next to a fruit stall. After finishing this matter, Luo returned to the town he loved. Friends who like this story, please like and follow. See you next time.